Hi, my name is Mason Dukacek, and welcome to our show, Build a Tribe Live, where I have the privilege of interviewing established business experts, thought leaders, and up-and-comers with unique and interesting perspectives on how to help business owners attract, capture, and convert more of their ideal prospects into customers online. Today's guest is Caesar Keller, who is an outstanding entrepreneur in his own right, who has built over 3 successful web development companies and has been invited to speak at Adobe's worldwide conferences for developers, anywhere from San Francisco, California, all the way to Sydney, Australia. And I invited Caesar in today to come visit with us and share some of his ideas on how to help business owners use their websites to generate more leads and increase conversion rates. Caesar, basically the format is pretty simple. I've got about 10 questions and maybe a few related follow-ups I'd like to ask you. But before we get into it, I always want to give my guests an opportunity to share a little bit about their story and tell us what it is that drives them and inspired them to start their businesses. And in this case, the situation is no different. Would you mind taking a few minutes to tell us a little bit about your background and what it is that drives you and inspires you?
Sure, thank you, and thanks for having me on. When I started really young. I was in college, St. Louis University. I was a sophomore in college, and I got bit by the bug, and actually I had a guy that just took me under his wing and taught me the ropes. And before you know it, instead of working at the library for $5, checking books in, I was doing websites, and I was, getting paid by, customers, nominal amount, but I started learning a lot very quickly. Because as soon as you get that entrepreneur bug, you start learning, well, I got to go out there and sell. I got to do the invoices.
Sure.
I got to figure out where I'm going to get customers, and you start doing stuff that you've never done before. You just, I was in love with websites and development and design, but who's going to teach you all that other stuff? So you get really creative and resourceful really quick. I was able to sell that business for a humble amount, and I was able to start a second one. Then that one got acquired because they wanted my list of customers, if you will. Signed a little non-compete. 2 years later, I'm like, man, I got to do it again. And here I stand today, doing a lot of stuff for small business owners.
Sure.
But it's been a long road, and excited to help small business owners and other creative professionals.
Great. Well, you don't mind, I'm going to pick your brain.
Sure.
So that the members of our audience can learn from you as well. The first question I have for you is, what would you say is the #1 reason why websites don't generate leads or sales?
I think overall, from a strategy perspective, small business owners just don't think that way. They don't think, how am I going to get leads and sales? They're thinking about the technology, they're thinking about the design, they're thinking about the content. But you have to have a whole bunch of components working together. You've got to connect the dots on, how am I going to brand myself and build that credibility? How am I going to manage this website and really push content forward in a very strategic way that gets people interested? Specifically, how do I solve the problems for those people? Then, once you have those 2 pieces, then you can start going, okay, once I have information coming into me, I know exactly what to do to follow up with these people so I can arrive at sales. Sales being offline or online. So it doesn't necessarily mean like you have to sell e-commerce. It can mean like, hey, I followed up with these leads. I had a process by which I collected that information, and I closed the deal offline. So it's just tweaking that lens for the small business owner so they don't see this as a brochure on the screen.
And making sure, I guess, it's not only that their online message is congruent with their offline message and that they both work together to drive revenue.
Absolutely.
What are the best ways to improve the credibility of a website, and why are they so important?
There's a lot of little things that people can do. The first thing is just your overall brand. Thinking about, it's just like walking into a store. You got to be friendly. Place has got to be clean. You got to be organized. You got to have purpose. So when you get to a website, make sure that it's not cold. A lot of websites are like, well, there's no people, there's no friendly faces, there's no smiles. Where's my staff? Exactly. It's just a bunch of text all over the place, and you don't really take them through the experience of, here's my staff, here's who you're going to be working with.
Or it's all about them. It's like, who cares? I want to know what's in it for me.
Exactly. So just having warm people saying, hey, we're people just like you, but we know how to take care of you. So that's #1. Contacting points. It's unbelievable how many people hide phone numbers. They hide email addresses. They hide, if I have a problem and I need to contact you and talk to someone for real or customer service, they hide it instead of putting it front and center. And then there's the proof. How can you prove that you're going to help these people? So if you combine a whole bunch of those theories together, it's going to be for a much better experience. People will go, I believe this company. This is a credible company, trustworthy, and I'm going to go with them over the next site.
I agree with everything you said. If there's anything that I would even add to that, just my opinion is I appreciate, and I may not be normal, but I think that I am, is people whose websites reflect the personality and the culture of the company and are authentic. The sterile company speak. It makes them forgettable and does more damage than good, at least in my perspective. And I don't necessarily know if that's reflective of everyone else, but I'd be willing to bet that it is for a lot of folks. What design strategies do you see that distinguish bad sites from excellent ones?
Number one is we always talk about personas and critical paths. Okay, a good design is going to help visually lead you to where you need to be. So that means that you've already thought about the path of where customers are going to go, where prospects are going to go.
Can you give me an example of what that might look like?
Sure. So if you're coming to the homepage and you're selling X product, you might have a couple of personas. You might have a high person that's got high dollars and willing to spend X on something, and then you got the budget conscious person. But let's say you offer both products.
Sure.
Having the separation of saying, hey, if you want this product with all this stuff and all these features and this price, go here. If you want to be price conscious and you want to see our hot deals or last year's model but brand new, but you get a great savings,
great point.
Go here.
I mean, it's got to be spelled out for people. I mean,
you got to make it simple. If you're going to make them figure it out, they're going to get frustrated, and that equals not user-friendly. And then you have a bad win. So just thinking strategically of, I want to route these personas that have these needs this way and these other people this way. If you do that with a part of the design, it's not about being pretty or beautiful. I mean, that's a part of it. But if you're intuitive and smart, as well as branding yourself, you're one step ahead of the game.
And could you expand a little on the path? You mentioned that.
So think about the homepage. A lot of people just think, oh, I'm just going to put a whole bunch of information on there. But a homepage is like traffic control for an airport. It's all right, you've come to the main spot, but you got to go here, 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 and there. And
right.
Here's why you want to go to these points. It's a little bit different when you're talking about online marketing. If you have a marketing campaign and people find you, you don't want to point people to the traffic control because you've already figured out if they found this piece of content and this content is relevant. Point them to the strategic landing page where they can see the product right there and then. They can make a decision right on the spot. Why point them to the website and have them figure out that whole path? You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So it's just being intuitive about where you're going to put them and really nice organized menus and just keeping things simple.
I saw Russell Brunson get interviewed by Tony Robbins, said the confused customer always says no.
Absolutely.
What insights do you have related to, or what insights do you have to offer related to website copy?
You know, it's funny that you ask. There's a lot of people that think that the way that you write for print is the exact same way that you write for web, and it is totally not the case. Number one, it's different media, right?
Right.
Different distances.
Sure.
Different DPI settings. Print is much more high quality than screens, although screens are getting better, retina displays and all that kind of stuff, but there's still a slight difference. Typography. The light, just all those things. But the most important part about it is when people read print versus screen, it's a little more intimate. When it's on screen, the studies have proven that people scan. They scan from left to right really quick and they go down. There's, Gutenberg rules from way back when. The guy invented the way the press works and everything. He really knew this is the way you really need to publish things. Well, those rules still apply, but they've been changing from print to web. So how you organize things, how you put links, how you bold things, how you chunk things into lists or bullet points are extremely important because we're just not a patient society. Yeah. They're going to go scan, 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 yes, click, scan, 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 click, click. And once they get deep down, like maybe 3 or 4 steps down that critical path that we talked about, that's where you got to put the meat of the content. If you try to put all the content up front, they're going to leave. They're just going to be, oh, this is too much. I'm not ready for that much content. So strategically writing by chunks, strategically writing by critical paths, and understanding, hey, I'm going to drive their interest and get to that detail page, it makes a huge difference. And a lot of people don't think that way.
What is a CMS, content management system, and what important role does it play?
Pretty big role, and it's exactly what it says. It's a platform or a system that allows you to manage content. If you think about websites maybe 15 years ago, 10 years ago, the thought that you could log into a system and go, well, here's my website, and I'm going to change the content right now.
Without being a programmer.
Without being a programmer.
It's almost like if you could do word processing as a business owner and entrepreneur, you should be able to update your website.
Exactly. Right? So no HTML, no CSS. You just really highlight stuff, copy text or paste text or type text, and you just hit go, update. The copy should be working right there on the spot. That's normal today. But if you look several years back, it wasn't normal.
No.
And only big companies could afford those systems to be able to make those changes. A lot of small business owners don't know that that technology is available.
And web designers that are getting paid to do all that work aren't wanting to always tell them either.
That's true. There's a flip side to it. There's a lot of business owners that are too busy. They know that technology exists, but out of convenience, they'd rather pay a professional to do it and do it right, do it fast.
Gotcha.
So if you don't have that technology, your maintenance, even if you're paying for it, is going to be more expensive. So thinking about moving to a content management system, if you don't have one, there's a lot of choices on the market, and they're not expensive. So I would say definitely look into it.
Cool. Why is a customer database so critical when it comes to email marketing?
Oh my God! If you don't have a database, who are you gonna email to? So many times we have customers come to us and say, "Well, I've had this website and I've been collecting email addresses for years," and we're like, "Great, where are they?"
It's like it's like an asset that you're, like dollars you're burying in a coffee can in the backyard.
Exactly.
It doesn't appreciate or generate any interest.
It's like, where are these emails? I don't know. They were emailed to me.
Right.
I'm like, well, did you have a database where you saved all this stuff, or at least a spreadsheet or something? It's like, no, it's all in my emails. And by the time you uncover that, it's just this huge issue. So just getting emails from your web forms is just no longer best practice nowadays. You have to have some kind of a customer record or a relationship management tool to say, here are the people that are interested. And you need to have a follow-up process. Here's how I'm going to get back to them. And if they submitted information to me, are they a part of this list so I can mark it back to them? Because they might have not bought today, but they're interested. Right. Send me the deals, send me the promos, send me the discounts. I'll buy tomorrow. Right. And if you're losing that, that's potential business that it's like traffic walking out your door and you're not doing anything about it.
My co-author used to say, our job as salespeople is to be in front of the prospect when they're ready to buy, not when we're ready to sell. We're always ready to sell. The problem is we don't know when they're ready to buy, so we need to stay in touch with them until they are, and having a good email system in place, I'm not saying it's everything, but it does rank up there with oxygen.
Yep.
What advice would you have for someone considering email marketing or just getting started?
I would say be strategic about not just a newsletter. Everyone's like, oh, there's a newsletter. Okay, we'll send you a newsletter, we'll give you a little update. How about thinking about a drip campaign, or when someone signs up for something that you're going to have continuous action because you know the perfect story to tell them. Hey, someone bought a purse. Okay, I have an e-commerce website and I sell purses to women, high-end stuff. You can follow up and say, well, did you get the awesome wallet that matches the purse? Did you get the awesome necklace and accessories that matches the purse? If you didn't, no problem. Here's a 20% discount coupon to come back and get this stuff later on. And then maybe the next time you can say, hey, did you forget to get this? No problem. The discount is still available. And you just touch points multiple times based on something that they signed up for.
Amazon does that really well. Like, hey, other people who purchased this book have also purchased this and this and this. And I can't tell you how many times I spent more than I anticipated to spend because the power of suggestion. Mm-hmm. How important are statistics and reports, and what advice do you have for gathering and utilizing that data?
Well, statistics and reports are just huge if you believe in analytics, because it tells the story of what's going on your website.
Not opinion, but fact.
This is fact, and the way that I like to say it is, if you have money to invest in your website, what are you going to invest it in? What section? What portion? Is it graphics? Is it content? Is it adding something new? Is it taking something away? Is it refocusing on something? Retesting something? How can you make those decisions if you don't know what's successful? I have 20 products that I saw on e-commerce. Which are my top sellers? Which are my bad sellers? Should I drop out some products and replace them with better selling products? Why are these products selling and these not? Well, it might be because the design page or the layouts are different and they shouldn't have been.
But if you don't have the data, you got to guess.
How would you know? So just by having statistics and running reports, you can at least make better informed decisions if you're going to be investing. And this is a business. This is not just a brochure on the screen. So just having that philosophy is going to take you a long way.
Okay. What do you think is most important for business owners to know about e-commerce and selling online?
You know what? A lot of people don't know that there's multiple formats of e-commerce. The first thing that they think about is, I'm going to sell a tangible product. Here's a book. Here's the book. I can sell that online. So much. I ship it. I'm warehousing it. I'm going to move it from here to there. Second product that some people don't think about is that variation, but it's digital. There is no tangible thing. It's an ebook. This is a file that you download, and you have access to downloading it, and so on and so forth. But what about gifts? What about donations? Those are for nonprofits or churches and things like that. Those are ways to take online transactions, but they're not necessarily a product, but it's a way to move transactions back and forth. A lot of people forget that. Another version is just getting paid online. Let's say you're a business, you're an accountant, and you just want to get paid on your website because it's easier to get a credit card and just run that and have them pay their bill online rather than wait for that check.
Exactly. You can have the administrative costs associated
whether it's
with
one time or recurring billing. You're absolutely right. So I think most people just tend to go, oh, I'm just selling. I don't need to sell things online. I'm not interested in e-commerce. But look at all these other options that I just talked about. So it just tends to skip over their head, and it's good to know what options are available.
Not everybody needs the same thing from a website. How do the different levels and needs of sites vary?
It comes down to investment and what you're trying to accomplish. Some people come to us all the time saying, hey, I have the budget. It's whatever it takes. I want to do this, and it's a really custom thing. Well, obviously that investment per exactly what they're trying to accomplish is way different, and the needs are different than someone just starting out. Hey, I'm a startup. I don't have those funds. I don't have the branding. I just need something. So what we tend to do is focus on the need and the context of the need and what you're trying to accomplish, because you can leverage best practices versus something custom. Those are two totally different price ranges, but you can still get the functionality of what the website is. So by combining, I want a website that's credible, I want a website that I can manage, I want a website that gives me leads and sales, but it doesn't have to be custom.
I want a website that people can actually purchase something, pay for it online, and have it delivered without me having to have a human involved.
Exactly.
Nice.
Now, you don't have to spend $50,000, $80,000, $100,000 to have that. You just got to be smart. So there are ways to really balance everyone's needs at different prices and different ways to build those with different technology.
Cesar, thanks so much for setting aside the time. I really appreciate you sharing your candid thoughts, opinions, and experience, and I hope that our audience appreciates it as much as I did. Cesar, if people wanted to know more about you and what you do and the solutions that you offer for businesses, where would you advise that they go and learn more about you?
Well, first of all, my website is simpleflame.com. Simple comes from the simplicity that we try to make the web, and the flame represents the passion. So simpleflame.com, there's a lot of information there, and there's phone numbers, web forms. We've thought about all our critical mass for you to get a hold of us easily.
Practice what you preach.
Practice what I preach. So start there, and there's tons of ways to get a hold of us there.
Awesome. You know what? I hope our audience walks away with ideas on how to utilize content management systems, e-commerce, website design, text. I mean, you've shared a whole bunch of ideas, and I'm very, very thankful. If you or anyone you know is looking for ideas on how to attract, capture, convert more of your ideal prospects into customers online, I want to invite you to visit buildatribe.com. I'd also invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss any videos and expert insights as they're released that can help you improve your business or the business of those who you know and work with. So thanks so much, and we look forward to catching you next time on Build a Tribe Live.